Hello, my friends. I welcome you to another episode of Aditya Talks, and today we have a special person with us, Mr. Rajesh Srivastava, and he is such a diverse of a person, and he has so much experience in his life. He's going to share a lot of knowledge with us today. Welcome to the show, sir.
Your internet is a problem.
Now is it okay?
Yeah, now it is better.
Yeah. Um,
Where are you?
so welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Yes. You have passed out from IIT Kanpur and I am Bangalore. Both are very renowned institutions of India. And then your first job at UB Group. How did it all happen? And please tell us about your early journey.
Oh, well, you want me to talk about IIT, IIM, or you want me to talk about my corporate career?
I want to talk about like from the beginning, from your college stage, and then to the corporate career, and all of your your journey actually. Summarize.
Well, when I was growing up, I boys had the option of being an engineer, and girls had the option of becoming a doctor. So, being a boy, I was told that I should do engineering, and IIT was the best place to do engineering. So that's why I decided to give the joint entrance exam and I got into IIT. I studied at IIT Kanpur. IIT Kanpur was an excellent experience. They were excellent faculty, excellent campus, excellent infrastructure, and excellent peers, friends. All of it combined to open up my mind. And what I learned in IIT, I later on used to solve problems which I faced while working in corporate. Now, when I was in my engineering, I realized, much to my dismay, that I did not like being an engineer. The life was very difficult. You had to stand on the factory floor. So I looked around and I discovered that there is another avenue that I can take, and that's when I decided to do IIM, and I gave the CAT exam, combined admission test exam, and I got into two IIMs, IIM Calcutta and IIM Bangalore. That time there were only three IIMs, so I chose Bangalore. Again, Bangalore was terrific place, very good peers. You know, my contemporaries, very good faculty, good experience, and it prepared you for a life in corporate. So both these places are excellent places to open up your mind, to get confidence, to make friends, which actually help you later on. So that's how my education got completed, and I decided, uh, when I decided to work for corporate, I had a job, almost a job with a multinational company. But I decided not to join the multinational company because in multinational companies, they tell you what to do. So you are told do this. You cannot do anything other than what their systems and processes. Whereas I wanted to do something that had never happened before. My dream, when I passed out from IIT, IIM, was to create brands with which people will fall in love. I wanted to create categories which did not exist and which I created. I wanted to run companies. I wanted to share my knowledge with the rest of the world. So this is what my dreams were, and I thought multinational companies would not help me achieve it. So I opted for an industry which is very unconventional, which is alcoholic beverage, and I joined alcoholic beverage, and I never repented a single day. I spent 14 years there and created, I believe, worked, created, nourished some of the finest brands which entertain millions of people even today. So these brands were created almost 2 decades, 3 decades back, but they continue to win the hearts and people's approval even today. So that's how my journey started. But the big thing is that when you choose a corporate career, don't choose image. Don't join a company because it is admired like a multinational company. Join a company where you can make a difference, where your knowledge will be used, where you will be given an opportunity to create something that hasn't existed. So this is what my thing was.
Yes, sir. That was certainly a very interesting story, and thank you for sharing your experience. Well, did it not like never cross your mind to like work abroad and leave the country? What kept you going with the UB group? Like you joined it, I understand, but how did you? Why did you not ever get the idea of leaving this country and going to another? Many people of India leave this country and just go and work for companies that are abroad. So please tell us about that.
And, I had two options to work abroad. When the first option came in early 90s, and that option was in Johannesburg. So you would be aware that South Africa actually was a closed country due to apartheid. So in early 1990s, it opened up, and my company wanted to post me in Johannesburg, but I decided not to go there for a very simple reason, not for me, but for my son. My son that time was 6 years old, and I had visited Johannesburg. And what I realized is that Johannesburg, being in South Africa, they were familiar with two types of people: one is white and one is black. And I thought the country was not ready for a brown child, right? So in school, you had white children, you had black children, but I thought they were not ready for brown children. And I thought that if I went there, my son would find it extremely difficult to cope in Johannesburg. So, keeping my son in mind, that is the reason why we as a family decided to stay on in India. The second time this opportunity came, my son was in college. And this time the opportunity was in Singapore as the CEO of a company. But by that time, when we discussed it at home, my son expressed that he would want to pursue his career in India, because at that time he was doing his internship and had got an offer from the music channel MTV. He was writing, he's an author and a stand up comic, so he was writing scripts for some of the channels, etc. And he felt that if he wants to make a career in India, he would not like to be uprooted to Singapore. So this is the second reason, again based not on my desire, but to protect our family and to give our child stable education, is why we decided not to leave our country and stay on in India.
Yes. So creating a brand is like creating a legacy for a company in the market. And in a specific product segment, what challenges did you face while creating brands at the UB Group? Please share your experiences with an example.
In alcoholic beverages, I don't know if it's a proper platform to share this, but in alcoholic beverages, the rule was that you have an alcohol brand and you took a lady in various states of undress, and you kept this undressed lady next to, I mean, in various states of undress, so next to the bottle, believing that people will notice the lady, and when they notice the lady, they will also notice the bottle, and when they notice the bottle, they will buy the product. I thought that was not the best way to sell products, because there was no reason for this lady to be, next to the bottle. So this is what I believed, and I also had an FMCG background where people actually look at in FMCG like detergent, soap, ketchup. People actually identify the problem of customers and try to solve it. So
Yes.
my entire problem in alcoholic beverages was that the way advertising was done, which is actually called lifestyle advertising, did not appeal to me, and I wanted it to be a problem solution approach. So that is what I introduced to alcoholic beverage. That's what I believe I did. We identified people's problem, and we gave a solution through our alcoholic beverage brand. For example, uh, most people have a great evening while they're having alcoholic beverage. So while they're having a great evening, their concern is for the next morning. Will I have a great morning? Will I have, can I go to the office? How can I make that presentation? So while having a great evening, the concern is for next morning. So we launched a whiskey called Good Morning After Great Evening. It sold 500,000 cases in the first year. So just to put this together, there is no challenge if your thoughts are clear, and that is what education in IIT and IIM taught me, that you should be clear of what you want to do. So I was clear that I wanted to launch solution to people's problem. I was customer centric. I identified people's problem and solved it.
Yes.
Whereas the traditional belief in alcohol was lifestyle advertising. So problem is not important. Show lifestyle, right? So this is the challenge I faced, and that's how I solved it.
Okay. So please tell us about like how was design thinking in that era during those days?
Design thinking has always existed. Steve Jobs has followed the principles of design thinking from 1980s. So as I mentioned earlier, my objective has always been to keep customers at the center and understand what their problems are and solve it to the best extent possible. And that is what is design thinking, human centric design, designs that are created with customers at the center. So design thinking is a new title given, but it's as old as the hills.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. What is your message on design thinking for the youth to learn and pursue this in their trainings and that?
Well, I just shared that with you. Design thinking basically is a jargon, but the spirit or the soul of design thinking is that you don't create solutions for yourself. You create solutions for people, for humans. So keep the human at the center and then create a solution which can solve their problem.
Yes.
Instead
Um.
of doing this, what do people do?
Yes.
They have a
Um.
solution and they force fit it on the customer.
Yes. Relaunching a product in different segments is a challenge from from a cheap costing deodorant. I heard your story to expensive perfume. The plunge is high. How did you manage to change the best possible memory of this experience of a viewer for the product?
Well, the story of deodorant is that this category has existed for a long time. I wanted to re-energize the category. In the sense, re-energize means it was growing at this pace. I wanted it to grow faster. So what did I do? I looked at the current solutions that were available to customers who were user of deodorant. So I went to deodorant users and asked them, what is the problem that you have with the existing best solution? They told me these are the problems I have. So once I understood their problem, I came up with this idea that customers in India don't want deodorant, they want perfume. So I launched my brand as perfume, right? And the moment I launched this as perfume, sales took off. And in any industry, in any country, if something succeeds, everybody follows. So this was done in the year 2002, and since then everybody has tried to sell their deodorant as perfume.
Yes. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. You innovated and please tell us strategy or creativity which works wonders for you in both companies. Which one do you advocate?
Strategy and creativity are two different things. One is orange, one is pineapple. So they are both different concepts.
Yes.
So to me, you have to be first creative, and whatever creative ideas you have to use strategy to communicate. So first comes creativity, then comes strategy. So you require both of them to make a successful business plan.
Yes. So you have experience like both practical and teaching management theories. How the management style and principles have changed over a period of time, which was in practice like way back then is redundant now. Can you please cite some examples?
Well, earlier they said that customer is God. Do everything to keep your customers happy. But in today's time, they are saying there are now two gods, not just customer, but also employees. Because when a customer comes, who serves them? Employees. If employees are unhappy, they will make customers unhappy. If customers are unhappy, they will not give you repeat business. So the earlier rule was keep customers happy. The new rule is keep both employees and customers happy, because happy employees will create happy customers will give you repeat business. That's what companies want. So like that, over a period of time, many rules have changed. I just gave you one example.
Thank you for sharing that. Well, your the new rules of business. Please tell us about your book. That and what is it all about?
During the course of my career, I have taught at various B schools, including IIMs and various universities outside the country. And I've met various people from the world of corporate across the world. What I realized is that new age company like Tesla, Apple, mm, Twitter, Facebook, Amazon, Starbucks, these are new age companies. They're dismantling the old rules and installing new rules. So if companies continue to use the old rules in an era of new rules, it is like using rotary phone in an era of smartphone. So
Yes,
new rules of business introduces companies to the new ways of doing business, which companies that I just mentioned are adopting.
yes. That was certainly interesting. Uh, Viewers, if you want to read this book or you're inspired by like Sir, then I will put the Amazon link in the description where you can purchase the book from, and then you start reading and learn the new rules of business. So is your book also like relevant and helpful for beginners to learn the work, like the new work style and basic bit of business? Please explain. Like if someone like me, suppose I'm just a child and I just don't know what is business and I'm just a newbie to this topic. Can I read your book?
Of course, you can read your book, but you will not appreciate the nuance,
Yes,
right? If I ask you to play cricket and I ask you to play cricket for Indian cricket team against Australia, you know
yes,
cricket, but you don't have the experience to play at that level. So the book is not written for you; it is written for practicing managers.
oh,
So you may not understand some of the concepts given there, and you may feel a bit out of place. Although the book is written in a story format, you would get a lot of ideas, but I'm not very sure, I would be honest, whether you can understand the essence of what is being said. It's like you are in which standard now?
I'm in the ninth.
Ninth. If I give you a book of MSc physics, what will happen?
Uh, I will not
So you
understand it.
will
Yeah.
eventually get there, but you will get some grasp. But the idea is that yes, it's a book that's written in a story format. You should read it if you can, but I'm not very sure how much it will help you, because you're still not. And by the time you come into business, the new rules of business would have again become old, and there's a new set of rules that would have come.
Yes.
So it
Thank
is
you
good
for
that you don't read it now and keep your energy focused on what you have to do.
yes. What is your message like to the youth of India? Like, and what should they focus on to prepare for the future and the future challenges to achieve success?
Well, you have to have passion, and once you discover your passion, then you don't have to work for a single day in your life. So my entire
Yes,
objective is that every one of us is different. I discovered my passion, that I wanted to study in IIT and IIM, and since the time I discovered it, I focus my energy on doing that. So my suggestion is that there is no big thing. If you don't discover your passion, then you will find it difficult to study, you will find it difficult to work. But if you discover your passion, then you will never have to work for a day in your life. It will be all fun. So try and
yes,
make an honest effort to discover what you're passionate about, what makes your heart beat faster.
yes. So has our startup culture changed old school business thoughts? If yes, how? Please elaborate.
Well, startup is a cool word, but what is startup? Startup is about creating products to solve people's problem.
Yes,
So if you take Coca-Cola, which is an old age company, it solved people's problem of refreshment. So there is no concept. I mean, it's just the only difference between a startup and traditional company is that traditional companies focused on making money. But
Yes,
startups are not focusing on making money. They are losing a lot of money, but they still get huge valuation, right?
yes,
So if you ask me the difference between old age and new age, both of them focus on customers, right? Maybe
yes,
startups focus a lot more, but the difference is that old age companies focus on making profit, whereas startups focus on getting more customers, getting more traction with their users. That's the
yes,
difference, and in the process they make a lot of loss, which is probably not right. And many startups are not focused on
yes.
really serving customer. They're interested in buying sales, they're interested in valuation more than serving the customer.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Well, do you think IIT, IIM, tag is still essential these days to be successful? Please advise what skills and education level do you think will prepare you to solve big problems for the country?
Well, if you look at most of the startups are not done by IIT, IIM. They are done by people not from IIT, IIM. So what you require is a customer-centric mindset, which is design thinking. That's first. And what skills you require to succeed in 21st century is critical thinking, creativity, innovation, business storytelling, framing the right question, smart problem solving, influencing people without authority, being humane, entrepreneurial mindset. So those are the skills that are required.
Yes, and of course, those things. Thank you for sharing those points. And well, now what are your like you have 3 decades of experience in the business, like in business field. Where do you think your experience will be the best to put you to have the maximum impact on the society?
To share it with as many people as I can. And that's what I do. I teach, I write books, I do webinars, this conversation with you. I can reach a few more people. So, whatever
Yes,
knowledge I have, whatever wisdom I've collected, I want to share it with people and pass it to them.
yes. Can you please tell us about your future plans and what you have planned big for the future?
My only plan is to leave my country, India, in a better shape than I found it in. And that's what I strive to do every single day.
Yes, thank you, sir. Well, why should we distract ourselves on a regular basis to be relevant in today's world? Please share a few examples to validate this.
Well, we just had this discussion, and I gave two examples. If you follow the old rules, old ways of doing business, it's like using rotary phone in an era of smartphone. You can still communicate, but you will be at a disadvantage. And I shared that earlier thing. Earlier, we said customers are God, but that's not valid. Now we have two gods, customers and employees. So if you continue to follow the old rules, the old way, and don't disrupt yourself, it will be like using rotary phone in an era of smartphone. You will succeed, but you will be at a disadvantage. But if
Yes,
you regularly disrupt yourself, then you will be having new ways of doing business and more efficient way.
yes, sir. Thank you. Well, what is the problem with today's youth, and what is your like? What do you think youth should solve and upgrade themselves? And what is your single piece of advice and to the youth?
Yet, there is no problem with the youth. The problem is more with the adult people, right? So youth have their own way of looking at things, but parents and adult want the children to look at issues from their way, and the children are saying, "I have my way." So this conflict is what makes people say that youths have a problem. Youths don't have a problem. They have their own unique way of looking at things. So that's first. And second thing is, which I said earlier, don't work. Discover your passion and pursue your passion. Then you will never have to work for a single day in your life. That way you will become world class.
Yes, sir. Please share some books which inspire you and which you have read to uh, some books that the youth can read and be inspired by.
See, I would not recommend any book because my reading is not books. My readings are of a totally different kind, which may not really help the youth, right? So I read books, for example, No rules. This is
Yes,
the
by
book I'm
Reed
reading.
Hastings. Yeah, yeah, Netflix one, right? I also have this one.
So I read this book. Then I have this book which is called Never Stop Learning. Right, the cover is not here, but I'm not sure whether these are the books for youth. Right, these are not the books for you. You have to
Yeah,
focus on small things instead of reading big books. So
yes,
once you get your techniques right, then you can graduate to reading books.
yes.
So at this point
Um,
in time, focus on doing whatever you have to do it well.
yes. Thank you, sir. Uh, lastly, who are your role models who, like, from whom you have been inspired the most and why?
It changes in life. There are various people who are very, very good people, not necessarily have inspired me, but who have inspired the world. Mahatma Gandhi is one, Steve Jobs is one, Elon Musk is one, Jeff Bezos is one. Uh, these are the people who are exceptional people. They've changed the world, and not just me, they have inspired millions of people. I mean, and that these are the people who I look up to.
Yes. Sir, please, lastly, please give me advice to people whom you would like to see and learn from on this show.
No, I'm not able to get your question.
I'm telling, please give me two people whom you would like to see on this show and why.
That will be very difficult, Aditya. That will be very difficult. I would like you to get Steve Jobs on the show, but that will not be possible. Next would be Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates. Those are the other two people.
Some people who are possible.
I have no idea. Either Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Shah Rukh Khan. Those are the other good people who you can get on your program. Those are the people I think are worthy of your program.
Thank you, sir. Well, thank you. Well, lastly, I hope you enjoyed this show. Please advise what unique thing you have liked about our talks and any suggestions for me so that I can incorporate them and my viewers can benefit from it.
Well, it's not for me to give you advice. You have to go through the recording and introspect and ask yourself the following question. If I had to do this interview all over again, how would I frame the question differently? If I had to ask a follow up question, did I ask a follow up question or did I ask the next question? Number three, did I really get the soul and the spirit of this man or did I just get an answer from him? Did I really engage him or did he just answer questions? Those are the things that you have to introspect, reflect, and answer to yourself.
Yes, sir.
The
Well, sir,
best
I
trainings
will.
come.
Yes. Yeah, you were saying.
Sorry,
You were saying something. Sorry.
no, no.